it didn't happen and the poke just became too much. Now Ultra Prime on the blue side, we are going to see the same bans coming out for the moment, and then we'll see where this one goes. Does IG want to give over that Felios? I wouldn't be surprised. Yep, there it is. They banned that one away instead.
Yeah, I mean, chances are Caitlyn going to be this final band as well. So for Ultra Prime, it then kind of lands itself on towards Corki duty or towards the Xin priority. I imagine with the way that Ultra Prime have been drafted, at least thus far, Corki will be the first place that they want to try and pick up.
Well, what is your final ban here, IG? They're going to go with the Caitlyn, so 3 bans into that bot side. So now you got first pick here for Ultra Prime. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see Dag that? And where do you want to see them bring their composition? Honestly, I was going to say the Corki's still up and available. They could just nab that one for themselves.
Yeah, Corki going to be picked up there, and I feel like for IG now, right, Shun goes towards the Xin, and then the big question is like, what do you want to try and go towards? Does Yuikai feel comfortable taking the Victor matchup? I don't think you end up taking it here anyway. Oh, maybe it goes straight towards the LeBlanc game. And then I feel like, at least on IG side, right, your third rotation here should be your top lane. Get something come from Zika, you can then ban away potential counter matchups, and always have the opportunity then to lock in your AD carry later and your support, because honestly, now that we've dipped down to that next tier, things like the Kai'Sas, the Ezreals, the Samiras all become up and available, and there's no real pressure to try and take that pick early.
Yeah, and I think the Ultra Prime recognizing this as well. It's probably the first time in a long time we are going to see pretty much all solo laners maybe locked and loaded alongside their junglers. Normally we do see those AD carries, but with the bans being where they are, there's no real, I suppose, urgency on either of these teams to pick it first.
Give us the Gwen. Let's move on. Come on. We all know where this is going. Let's come on. But yeah.
It's like, all right, go on now. None of this now. Come on.
You know this is going to happen, right? She's just so strong at the moment. Okay, Zeda's actually maybe going towards the Gragas, so looking to provide a bit more of a front line for Ultra Prime, but yeah, I mean, it still works out. It does give the opportunity for Zika to just go back towards the Gwen if he wants to. There we go. Thank you very much. And there we go. Right, so now you're looking at, okay, what do you want in the AD carry and support roles? At least for Ultra Prime, they already have their engage tool, whereas on IG, it's a little bit less. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Ultra Prime like banning away things like the Leona, maybe something along the lines of well, maybe not Alistair, but like, you know, these big engage tools, Nautilus, thank you. The big engage tools that you can go for in this bot side. Whereas for IG, they're actually looking to take away the Jhin, so 80 carries taken off the board. And then we'll have to see what they decide to go towards. Maybe they think, hey, look, let's get rid of Elk's Ziggs as well. Here, just anything that can play at range and give IG the chance to actually come into these fights.
I want to see, legitimately, I want to see 9, no, it wouldn't be 9, it'd be 7 AD carry bans. 2 more, and we get 7 AD carry bans. So the Draven ban away, the Ziggs, if it gets banned here as well by IG, would be another AD carry ban. So I wanted to see what's scraping the bottom of the barrel. You know, where are we going to go in terms of the tiering of picks? Because we're well past, I say we're in B tier picks now, and with the next few bans coming out, we could get into C if we need to.
Yeah, I still think like for IG, right, you've still got first pick here, so this kind of benefits you. You can always go back towards like, oh, Kai'Sa's off the board, Ezreal's still there. You can go Zyra Khan, and Samira is still an option. The Ziggs is still there. Like, there's still a lot available if you want to go towards it. Looks like Tarek's a weird one for me, actually.
Lucas was a one-trick Tarek in the LDL for a very long time.
It just feels like you don't have a huge amount of like upfront burst that Tarek can stop, but yeah, I mean, all right. Anyway, Tarek taken off the board. Looks like it is going to be the Ezreal coming through for Shao UG. I still think for IG, you need a decent amount of engage, so I think it'll be either the Rakan or the Leona that comes through for Lucas in this scenario. Both work really well when it comes towards the sideline pressure. It is going to be the Zyra Rakan for Elk and Shousi, though, which means we'll see the Leona coming through for Lucas.
And it's curious as well, we're actually seeing a bit of a different build for the Xayah coming out here. We're seeing lethality picked up on her. I'll be curious to see if Elk does go with that. Is a bit more aggressive. You're not waiting for that 2/2.5 item spike to be relevant. You get a relevant spike at the start, and it does tend to work a lot better when you have something like the Rakan to back you up. But the Leona locked in there for Lucas, like you mentioned, and now both team comps locked and loaded. It feels like Ultra Prime are still looking pretty strong as we come into the second game.
Yeah, I mean, Ultra Prime, you got a very standard team fighting composition, right? Ton of damage that can come through. The little bit of poke that can come through from the Xayah, always nice. But then when you look at the Corki, right? Great late game scaling coming through and super strong front line. IG, you've got a bit more options, though, to try and play side lane. You've got the LeBlanc and also the Gwen that can do reasonably well there. And you've got a pretty strong and safe 3-man unit in the mid. They could look to play team fights and see if you can use like the Gwen is immune alongside the AoE kind of zone of sends out to zone off members of Ultra Prime, buy time for xiaoyu to work through the front line, but it still feels like side lanes is going to be where they're best settled.
That's going to be where they're going to look to go, and we'll see now where they want to build as well. Like I mentioned, could see the lethality Xayah coming out as well. And Ultra Prime going to have that pretty much mitigated top side. They're not going to have a lot of push there, but they should be able to just gradually whittle down the health bar of the Gwen and maybe force her out. And it's all going to be on these, you know, early game junglers, Hacker and Shun. Shun had a great game one in the first 10 minutes, but then just fell off, didn't really find the opportunities to bring himself back, whereas Hacker was able to get himself relevant towards the later stages of the game. So both these teams looking to try and get themselves back up and running, and for IG, you got to try and show up now. I feel like this, you know, we say it so many times, it's Shun or bust, but it feels like it's bust most of the time because Shun's still having a good game.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do with Shun, especially on early game junglers, but I think this time around he should be reasonably well set up, right? You've got Uikai on this LeBlanc in the mid lane. If you can play aggressive on towards the Quirky, you can shut him down early, and especially when you're looking at the matchups that you have in bot lane, the Gwen in the top side, you kind of look to play around, but certainly this LeBlanc mid will be the mainstay that you want to go to.
We are going to jump onto the Rift. Ultra Prime 1-0 up in this series against IG. We're already seeing some level 1 shenanigans coming out right now. Lucas is going to find himself very far away from his team. If he walks up, he'll be spotted. They haven't seen him just yet. Oh, he's dead. He's dead. Nothing he can do. Knocked up, taken down. Who they're going to delete this one over to? It's going over to the Xayah. That is a great start there for the bot side of Ultra Prime.
I mean, there's not a huge reason for Lucas to get that vision, right? Like, you can place that ward over at the Raptors and keep yourself safe. Like, there's no reason for you to try and go that aggressive, and they end up getting caught out. Now, as you say, Tier and Longsword already picked up for the side. This is such a nice start, being able to stack up this Tier super early and get towards that Manamune as quickly as possible. Plus, even more poke for the lane, right? Like, the whole way that this build revolves around is your Q poke alongside that summon Aerie. So when you've got extra mana sustain to utilize in that lane, it works out super well, especially against something like an Ezreal, where you're able to poke through the lane, push, and get that damage off.
Well, speaking of getting damage off, both these mid laners immediately going head first into each other. It is going to be a Corrupting Pot versus the Longsword and triple pot start of Cryan. Both junglers starting on their buffs respectfully as well. So see how this bot lane goes. Lucas and Xiaoxi gonna have to go into this. They're gonna go straight on to Xiao Wuji, and they say, we do not care about anything you do or say. We are gonna keep taking these solo kills. We are getting revenge for game one.
It's been a while since we've seen the Xayah Rakan, but Xayah Rakan's still insanely strong. You end up getting that early buff coming through to the damage with the W, so both Rakan and Xayah's attack speed is buffed. And you can see there, just very easily able to take down this Ezreal.
Again, great start from Ultra Prime, and this is what we expected to see. This is why I love seeing Elk. We highlighted him before we came in today's game because Elk feels like he's the guy who's going to be able to put in so much effort, so much work into these two teams that it's just going to be impossible to deal with them. They go back, they get themselves back onto the map as quick as they possibly can, and double longsword, I feel like they're just going to keep doing this because they know that in the early levels, this Ezreal's just so weak.
Yeah, and there's not much that you can really do here as Shun, right? You go down to that bot side, you've got an Ezreal who's only got the Doran's blade as Ryan, actually taking a good amount of damage. But yeah, Shun, if you go bot, you've got double longsword come through from Elk. Elk and Xiaoxi just the stronger duo at this point in time as well. So you actually end up risking just falling yourself if you try and go down there. So this doesn't really get any easier for IG's bot side. And traditionally when you think of like the Ezreal, right? Get out and roam with the Leona, but when you're set behind like this, you don't get push in bot side. Level 6 gets hit for Elk and Xiaoxi. They can dive you all the time, especially with no cleanse and xiaoyu.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough start right now for the side of IG. Already down 1,000 gold, basically all in that bot size. We are going to see now an engage in this bot lane. Lucas trying to trade with Xiaoxi. Has got the aftershock, and that's basically why he's feeling confident to do that. He needs to be one engaging, because if they get engaged upon, they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, you can see those Zika spots Hacker up on this top side, so Shun knows the path in here, and this is actually going to prompt him to try and move down towards this bottom side of the map. I don't know if this is going to work out, though.
It's very difficult. Again, double longsword available. Elk is being corralled in. They're going to use a TP, and this is going to be the cleanse used as well. He gets the feathers to jump back as Lucas will fall. They can't take out Elk. Yes, they can, but it's traded back 2 for 1. Ultra Prime wise to the tricks.
Yeah, most of that wave was already dead by the time it hit the tower as well, so Elk doesn't really lose out on this. He ends up picking up the assist off the back, and now you've got a serrated Dirk there. I don't know, a lot committed there by IG and Ultra Prime. Yes, you get the TP out of ZS, but he's going to walk back top. He's going to be fine. He's not going to really miss out, and it's all coming up Ultra Prime.
It really, really is. And I think the big thing to recognize from this as well is that, yes, we mentioned that Hacker got caught out in terms of vision, but that just meant, you know, we know that you know we know. So then they were able to say, look, we know you're going to look for this play. We're just going to move the Gragas down to the bot, into the bush. We're going to TP him onto the bot side. Really, really well read there from the side of Ultra Prime. And again, yes, they get the kill. It does go over to the Ezreal. That's great. That does sort of mitigate a lot of the issues you had. But Lucas, what are you doing, my son? Get out of here! Shun's got to grab him by the hand like the mammy he is and goes, come on now, let's get out. You shouldn't be doing that. Don't be playing with those kids.
I mean, manages to back away. I mean, very greedy invade. But I mean, that's kind of been the story about this bot lane for IG, right? And I don't know. Maybe on that dive they thought that, look, they're still only level 2 for Ultra Prime. We can make the play. But first minion that hits the tower, both Elk and Chelsea hit 3. And they don't decide to call off the dive. So I'm not sure, but...
Oh! No.
He's no ignite. No ignite. He's all right. But that's the second time now we've seen these big trades come through from Uakai. And this is what I was talking about, right? I'd love to see Shun actually supporting this play mid lane, like shutting down the Corki early. But because Shun is trying to right the wrongs of his bot lane, he hasn't really been in a position to help out an Ultra Pro. Or sorry, help shut down Brian in this mid lane.
He is just focusing on this bot side, Shun trying to make sure Xiaoji has a little bit of a decent time. He's actually got a bit of a CS favor in his wake, as we see Shun now starting off this dragon, so they know that the Xin Zhao is on that bot side. Needs to be a little bit careful. Let's have a look at the replay here into that mid lane. It is just crying. Just taking an unfortunate amount of damage. A flash was actually used by Uakai, not used by Cryan, so that's actually a big cooldown to not quite get the damage down.
That pot MVP there, the fact that it just ticked over in time, but unfortunately for Uakai, no flash, but it shouldn't really mean too much, right? He's still got the distortion. There's not really a way for Hacker to get in there, and Uakai, as long as he's quick on the trigger finger, should be all right. Shun now gets Dragon as Lucas in trouble.
He's not going to die, I hope, as that's Reddit Dirk doing damage. He's dead. The Ignite's going to be enough. Tick, tick, boom. And that is another kill going over to this bot side. They have 5 kill participation, 2 kills, 3 assists each, and they are just loving life right now.
I mean, Xiaoji had the right call, right? Move back to tower, get to the safety point. But Lucas decided to kind of put himself out beyond the wall, and he gets caught. And now 3 deaths over to Lucas, 2 kills apiece for Elk and Chelsea, and you're very quickly getting towards this Eclipse. And once that happens, like, Xiaoji just can't match up, and now you're looking at, all right, well, 15 seconds past 7. Right, we can look towards the Rift Tower. We can look towards a ton of these objectives and look to take over the game from this bot lane.
You can see it there on the little picture-in-picture replay. It's just lazy recall from Lucas. There's nothing else to say about it. It's just, they just said, okay, well, I walk forward. I either get him in this middle bush and delay his recall, or I know he's in this furthest bush, and we get a knock-up on him. We minimum burn a summoner, or, you know, at best get a kill, and they got the best result out of it. So really, really not loving this game right now from Lucas. Very much, you know, poor play on his part there to really give that one over. And again, like I said, it was about Xiao Wuji getting back into this mid lane. Has been doing well on the CS front, is equal on that, you know, kind of setup, regardless of the fact that he's died twice.
Shun will start up this Rift Tower, but I really want to see him playing towards the mid lane now. Because when you look at someone who can actually deal with Elk, it's only going to be Uakai, right? He's the one that's got the dive. Zika can try and go, but there's a hell of a lot that he's got to get through to get there. Attacker. Now on bot.
Oh, yeah, there is a flash and a heal. They are going to get the 1 and 2 out of him as they go forward with the feathers. Drag him back. Hacker picks up a kill. They know exactly what they need to do and where they need to be doing it. Cryan now going to use the package here onto Shun, just to try and defend his blue buff. But here comes ZS with the flash belly bop into the explosive cast. Very nicely set up there by the subtle energies of Ultra Prime. And this game feels like it's really quickly accelerating away from IG.
I mean, 7-1 3,000 gold lead in favor of Ultra Prime.
9 minutes.
Yeah, you didn't get the Rift Herald, but like your bot lane's been zoned away from the bot lane tower. They're meant to get their third plate and you've got nothing. Like, unfortunately for IG, this mid game, or this early game even, has gone completely awry, and you don't have a lead anywhere on the map to really justify you being able to play against what Ultra Prime have.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit desperate. You can see Cryan just so safe now with the double buffs on hand on the Corki, going to be able to do so much. To get the recall on bot side, they will be able to pick up all this farm here from the side of IG, but let's have a look at the replay here, because this is just Hacker saying, I don't care if you're an Ezreal with full summoners, I'm still going to be able to kill you because Shousey's in a perfect position.
Yeah, and you can, like, you see everything, right? So you get the Cataclysm in, you got Shousey behind, ZS does die to Zika, so finally IG getting something back on the map with the solo kill in Zika's first series.
Nicely done, but oh dearie me, speaking of solo kill, they don't know which one is the right one, but it does not matter as Shousey picks himself up another kill, 3-0 and 4 on that Rakan, and this is where we start to get a little bit more worried about this, because yes, great, you got a kill in topside. That's in the clips onto the Xayah. That is a first item at just before 10 minutes as we come up towards these dragon stackings, and great for IG. The only real silver lining for them is that topside got a solo kill and they got that first Drake.
Yeah, I mean, maybe try and just make Zika as big as possible, but I mean,
oh, no.
He's gonna have to be like your
no.
photo of me, Attack on Titan size, if he wants to do anything.
They're gonna get the TP coming in. That's gonna be the LeBlanc joining, but too little too late. Not really a lot else you can do, and that's a big teleport cooldown down. Look at the mid lane. You can just see Cryan pushing this one in. Not quite sure why he went a little bit too far forward, and now gonna she get pinched out a little bit.
Let's go!
Let's go. He's going to flash away, and he's going to start the TP as well. So they know he's in this bush. They know they don't know he was in there. I don't think they could have stopped him anyway, but Cryan has to use both the summoners to get himself out alive.
Yeah, I mean, look, whatever about the play being a little bit messy, I like the build coming through from Cryan here. Early Merc threads picked up means that the potential of a route into a Shun gank pretty much negligible, plus being able to deny a lot of the damage coming through from both the AP mid and top and is going to make things pretty nice for Cryan. So now you've lost your opportunity to play through mid here as IG. Maybe you can try and play through top with this Rift Herald about to despawn. It looks like Lucas and Shun are going to move up that top lane and see if they can get some plates over towards it.
4,000 gold though. It's and it's all in. Not all, but basically a lot of it is in bot side. 1,300 there for Shousey, and then I think it is about just under 2,000, so about 1,700. As we can see, there's the ultimate there. Hacker, very smart, just says, I don't care. I'm just going to wait for it, go for it. There's the explosive cast on the top side. They're investing a lot of time here, and there's only a couple of plates ready for them to be able to take. Lucas is shadowing just a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be able to get the full tower here, and it's being traded for pretty much full pressure in bot side. Xiaowu gets cataclysmed upon. You've no flash. You've no way of leaving. God, man, this is... I feel like this is just bullying at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, IG, we came into today, we're like, hey, look, you know, honestly, from my point of view, I thought that IG would do a lot better than we're seeing at the moment, right?
It was close. It was definitely close between these two teams.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean. It was close, right? Especially when you look at IG, like, they've had some close games. I mean, a lot of their scores have been 0-2, but it hasn't been, like, just complete decimation that we're seeing. But Ultra Prime, they're coming in, they're absolutely dismantling them, right? Unfortunate that game 1 bot lane didn't go well, but this is a different story.
It is a very different story. Shun having to flush away there from the barrel. Knows that if the slow comes out, he is dead. Yukai, though, as well as that. Shousey goes in with the quickness. Does get the knock-up as well, but it's only just to dissuade the rest of IG from going into him. While that was all happening, Elk now up to 2,500 gold ahead. He's nearly 3,000 gold ahead of his counterpart. And honestly, I just don't see this getting any better for Xiaowu. He's going to need about 4 items before he's even able to go toe-to-toe with the Xayah.
I mean, it's not happening. Elk is like totally fine. And look, again, who deals with Elk, right? He's got cleanse. So Lucas trying to lock him up isn't really going to do anything. He's already got the ult as well because he's a Xayah, so that's going to keep him nice and safe when you look towards the peel. And as you say it, right, 2 items now completed for him with the Manamune now done. He's in a phenomenal spot where that damage is going to be churning out, and there's just little that IG can do.
I don't really know what else to say right now. It's 10 kills to 2, 4,000 gold lead in favor of Ultra Prime to Dragon Peace.
Honestly, this is where you just go, put your feet up, and just wait for it all to be. Make yourself a cup of tea. Just chill out.
It'll all be over soon.
Yeah.
Didn't we say that about the lockdowns? Didn't we have it at about 2 years ago at this point?
I mean, why you gotta make it sad?
I gotta be real about it. Well, they're gonna try and make this very real for ZS as he's in underneath the tower. Zika will take a couple of tower shots as they go into it, but Showski is here. I don't think they're gonna go for a full real engage, and yeah, great explosive cast. They try and jump on top of him. Lucas will go golden and ZS flashes away. He will finally fall. It's a good dive here from the side of IG as they try and find Showski as well. These health bars are low. No one else really joining him, and he will get himself over the wall with the grand entrance. It's still only a 1 for none. While that was happening, Yukai blew his flash in top side, and guess who's been pushing in the mid lane?
I was gonna say, if Showski hadn't actually gone for that weird pick that they tried to make in mid, I'm pretty sure Ultra Prime could have turned that play around to the bot side, but fortunately not able to, so ZS will fall. Zika getting more attention, and 2-0 now with the tower falling in his favor, but as you say that, right, top for Crying, mid for Elk, they're still trading up on the map, and we're still looking at a 4,000 gold lead for Ultra Prime. Yukai here for Crying, but I don't think you can just one-shot this dude anymore. Like, he's got the Merc threads there. He should be reasonably all right.
Yeah, Merc treads just not really in position to be able to be taken down, and 2 items there onto the Xayah. It's not only just the 2 items they have, they also have the Eclipse, so the survivability there is just so much stronger when you get those 3 abilities and extra shields. Have a look here. ZS does do very well to just mitigate all of this engage, but like you said, without the quickness, it's very difficult for the side of Ultra Prime to really save ZS.
Yeah, also nice job by Lucas to like have that stopwatch, right? So you start to move the tower aggro around so it's on the shared health bars rather than just being on Lucas, and them to get a second stun in. So nice job there from IG at least to get something, but I mean, it's trying to find the silver lining here on a very, very grey day for IG.
Yeah, like, yes, they got a kill bot lane. That's fantastic. And they got a tower, but they lost 2 towers. They lost the flash off of Yukai, who's still waiting for his first item. That's the big thing right now, is that Yukai just hasn't really been able to do anything as we see the flag and drag. Not going to hit anybody, but you have the Rift Herald in hand now for the side of Ultra Prime. They can just push this into mid lane, bot lane, top lane, wherever their heart's desires.
The problem though is that you're trading it for a Dragon and Spec spawn, right? And you can go full push for Ultra Prime in the mid lane. Like, ZS is going to be able to come up here, take this. Crying can always move in now with the crew for Dragon, and there's not really anything there. Like, again, Ultra Prime, you've even got the Rift Herald there and Hacker's back pocket as well. You're going to even get Crying with the TP. Yeah, looks like they're just going to go Dragon straight into, hey, let's Rift Herald bot and crack ourselves up in tier 2.
Yeah, Rift Herald bot or even Rift Herald mid. They have so many options available to them. There's the shoe shot barrage. I love this from Hacker. He's just like, I'm not even going to risk it. I'm going to walk away and make sure you can't even get it. As we now see Shun and Zika coming in towards this bot side, but with a TP available for a ZS and Crying very much doing a lot of damage as he goes in with the package very aggressively. Has to flash away. It just wasn't coordinated, but they're just so far ahead that I don't think it's going to really matter. There's the quickness coming out. As we can see, Shun now taken down. They will get the TP in from ZS as well. So despite it being a very scuffed engage, they're just too far ahead. Ultra Prime will take themselves a turret and a hell of a lot more gold.
Yeah, they'll get the bot tier 2. Shelly will die though, so unfortunately will not be able to get another charge onto this bot lane structure, but as you say, right, like they still come out with the team fight win. Crying going way too aggressive under the tower though. Bit far forward, but Ultra Prime managed to bring it back.
Yeah, I think he went far forward expecting Hacker to come in, and then as he was going in on the package, he just looked to his left and saw him summoning the Rift Herald. It was like, uh-oh, I guess have a look at it here, because again, not really much else to say about it. He knows that Hacker is there on the left, and this is it, literally. He kind of goes, okay, and then Hacker just starts channeling. Actually, it's actually Hacker who really just like leaves him out high and dry. He just starts channeling the Rift Herald for no real reason.
I will say, if you package underneath the tower into the only person on IG that is relevant, and Shun and Xinjiao, it's probably
harsh
not gonna work out, you know? But yeah, here we are. 12-4, 6,000 gold lead. My analysis is going to run fairly dry in this game, because
can't really blame me for that one. There's not really much to analyze. One team is very far ahead. One team has a nearly 3 items Zaya. The other team has a 1 item, not even fully stacked tier Ezreal. So that's all you really need to know. And this is where this is why we've seen this lethality build come out from the Zaya, because with her short range, it doesn't matter about getting to the late game anymore. It's all about getting up towards those, you know, big early skirmishes and making sure that you can just keep going ahead.
Man, I appreciate it. He's tried his hardest here, despite the mountain that he has to climb.
Hey, objective bounties though.
Yeah, and look, I gotta say, for Zik on his first day coming in, right? Yes, muted in game 1, but didn't really have an opportunity to get involved, right? It's not exactly like we said that IG were setting up the team well, not really looking for flanks. Now, you could argue that he probably could have been looking for flanks himself, but in lane, got the advantage over ZS in a matchup that really should have gone in ZS's favor. Now in game 2 again, solo kills onto ZS, so at least from Zika's perspective, it's been pretty good. It's just unfortunate that once again, it's IG's bot lane that's faltering quite substantially.
Yeah, look, we've seen now a couple of times from IGs, even last year. My God, Lucas, walk away, man. There's nothing you can do. But we've seen it a couple of times. They have prioritized the top lane as the point of where they want to change. And I'm going to be real with you, IG. I don't think that's your problem. Nani's still a solid carry in the top side. Dika looking pretty decent as well. I don't think it's the top lane that's stopping you from winning games. No offense.
I mean, we said it at the start of the day, right? Nani, honestly, was pretty good. I'm pretty sure when discussing this with Ox and Jordan, the word Giga Chat was thrown around to describe Nani.
Hashtag protect Nani.
Yeah, but, like, give Zika the chance, because, well, Zika doesn't have a chance there.
No chance there. He's just didn't realize there was Sorelda's grudge there onto Elk, so Elk's able to just slow him down, which gives enough of an opportunity here for the Rakan to make move, and then 20 seconds almost on the dot. They're going to go for Baron, and yeah, honestly, a miracle steal here. It's a bit of a flip. I actually don't like this from Ultra Prime, but they're trying to just force IG into corralling around them so they can put down damage.
You don't have the quickness, which means that you can try and get some poke, but honestly the poke is kind of negligible, and it's Ultra Prime who's getting the Baron and dealing more damage as well. Yuikai goes in, Hacker!
I mean, Hacker's almost dead here. They're going to jump straight at the Shun, though, who's as well almost dead. They're going to try and see if they can make this one work. Hacker, though, will die. The Gragas will fall as well as they go straight in. Elk is so aggressive right now. He will need to run away, though, as there comes Dika as he tries to jump straight on top of him. The LeBlanc trying to do so much, but Elk is just too damn big. They will get the Arcane Shift out, and the Corky Rocket from downtown does solidify that team fight win. It is going to be Yuikai trying his very best to find the bush to TP into to try and get himself away, but honestly, I think he's just dead. He's not even going to waste the cooldown. He knows that he's going to die regardless. Yep, there it is. Boom. Ace coming out for Ultra Prime and the Baron.
I appreciate that Yuikai decided to go for the joust. An honorable death there, where he runs headfirst into Hackers coming the other direction. It's just unfortunate that he got knocked off the horse. And now, Ultra Prime start to push in top. Baron is there. Dragon in 2 seconds. Third Dragon coming through for Ultra Prime. And in the replay, this did look a little dodgy, right? Yuikai gets some good damage on towards Hacker. Hacker forced the back wave, and Xiaoyu, if he had a bit more damage on him, could have actually taken down Hacker. So, won't say it's exactly the cleanest from Ultra Prime. And Shun desperately trying to get into the pit, but it is into the waiting hands of Elk, who just finish off so many members.
Yeah, and he flashes forward. Again, this is not a Gale Force. This is not a traditional ADC carry build. As we can see now, Shun forced to flash away. We are going to have them being chased down by ZS, but the scissors is enough to keep them away from him just for the moment. 10,000 gold lead at 22.5 minutes. Baron up for another minute and a half. You have the package as well. You don't even care about the Dragon at this point. You just want to be able to end this game. And honestly, this is very good showing here from Ultra Prime. Bit disappointing from the side of IG, as we can see Luke.
Oh, no.
I'm on the highway to hell. He was not having a good time there. Now we can see the greatness coming in as Elk tries to go in and tries to follow up with the rest of his team. But without his flash, he's just a little bit slow. Wait for him. He's full of money and chocolate as he now tries to crack open the base. They get themselves the inhibitor. They still have the Baron. Ultra Prime going to be keeping themselves up in the standings ahead of the rest of the pack of the bottom as they are looking to try and solidify themselves a 2-3 scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, one more kill going over onto Zika. Towers are here. Baron is up, and after that long game number 1, IG and Ultra Prime bring us back on time with a quick game number 2.
I think I speak for everybody when I say, great that Ultra Prime came out absolutely swinging. Never put Elk onto Ziggs ever again. I want to see him on these aggressive carries. And look, like, there were 6 80 carry bans. 6! And he still came out on top of that because, like, yes, IG were arguably in the advantage saying we get preference, but Elk's just too clean, man. Elk's just too good.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what Elk's career stats are. Because I feel like he's like... I feel like we're doing him dirty with the Ziggs. Like, okay, no, he's got a 31st.
Yeah, he's not good on Ziggs. He's an aggressive 80 carry. He like plays like Xayah, Samira, Draven in there sometimes as well, I believe. You know?
But yeah, I mean, as you say, right? Like, looking a hell of a lot stronger than Xayah Khan. I honestly thought we'd see a little bit of priority on to getting at least one of the big 80 carries here for IG, kind of try and solidify that bot lane, but unfortunately it's just not the case. Shouldn't you can still see trying to keep the team in high spirits, but this definitely feels like for IG when you're subbing in pretty much every rookie that you have, that this is just going to be a case of, hey, look, a building year for them, see if they can learn to grow, because again, like Zika going to now joining the roster, that's another rookie for themselves. You have Uakai as well, who was only kind of subbing on RNG. JUG is new. Lucas only joined last year. Like, it's not exactly a team with a crazy amount of veterancy. So, I'm unfortunate for IG that it hasn't come together for them, at least for Ultra Prime. That game 2 looking a lot more confident than game 1.
Yeah, and like we said, they go into Chinese New Year, the break of about 2 weeks with a win. You know, they're now 2-3. They're above the rest of the pack as such, and like I said, you know, with 17 teams and only 10 spots, I say only 10 spots, it's, you know, 10 spots in playoffs, sometimes you just have to be slightly above average. Not even above average, you just gotta be slightly below average and you'll still make it into playoffs. So still a big opportunity there for Ultra Prime. I don't know if they're gonna get it. There's so many stacked teams in the LPL this year that it's very, very difficult to see anyone squeezing anyone else out. But honestly, good start, great way starting, you know, setting themselves off into a break, and they'll be pretty happy knowing that they took out someone, again, similar level to themselves.
Yeah, it feels again though like we're getting the kind of the same cut and dry comes from Ultra Prime, you know. The Greg is top, Crying getting his quirky, Elk carrying a huge amount of damage from the spot side. It just feels like when Ultra Prime get these sort of compositions, it's super easy for them to play around that aggressive bot lane. You got Crying who's going to scale reasonably well, and ZS on a tank. So I think this is definitely the identity that Ultra Prime feel most comfortable with, and we saw it in this game, right? Elk and Chelsea get a minor lead that turns into something far bigger very quick.
Yeah, and that is going to be a big issue for IG. Like you said, it's a bit of a building block year. It's very much something that they're trying to figure stuff out. I still think they have plenty of options in the top lane. I feel like they need to look elsewhere where they want to try and make it some kind of improvements, because right now, swapping in Zeka and Nani, it's the same result. They can't really do a lot. And I know that sounds like I'm calling them out, but that bot lane is a massive issue now for IG. We saw it there. Once we had one slightly proactive bot side, it was just so... They couldn't do anything. They just fell behind 7 kills within the first 12 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, especially the bot lane focused meta, right? When your bot lane has been exposed as much as it has, unfortunately, there's not very much you can do. Now, I don't know if we start to see JUG being swapped around or what the story might be for that bot side, but yeah, I mean, no matter what you do in that top lane, there's never really going to be enough that you can try and big carry, unless you end up putting something like a gangplank, like we see a little bit over in the LEC, these like super like game scalers, but and you just like one-shot someone, but that's not really going to happen. We don't really get in the LPL, so unfortunately, you're just kind of caught in the wrong spot.
Yeah, well, speaking of good bot laners, we're going to send it over to Wendy, who has an interview ready with Elk.
Hello everyone, welcome to the interview, and now we have invited Elk from UP with us. So congratulations on today's win, and back to today's game. In game 1, you have picked Ziggs, this champion. We know you are a very good Ziggs player, but this champion seems is not a very hot pick recently in LPL. So what's the reason for you to just pick this champion, and under what kind of conditions Ziggs can be a very good pick in the current meta? 那首先恭喜你们，今天很漂亮，2-0拿下了比赛的胜利。第一个问题也想问一下，第一局我们 Elk 选手的一个英雄选择，因为我们知道你是一个玩炸弹人玩的非常好的选手，但是呢，感觉炸弹人这个英雄最近在 LPL 的赛场上可能选出的次数没有那么多，所以能问一下，今天选出这个英雄的契机是什么？同时，你觉得在什么样的情况之下，炸弹人会是一个很好的下路英雄选择呢？
因为渣男人这个英雄在最近的比赛中，是因为就大和 AD 比较多吧，然后这一场是因为对面给之前英雄都办了，然后一选二斐流斯，然后我觉得渣男人这个英雄打二斐流斯的话，就感觉还挺可以，然后就选择了这个英雄。
So I think the reason for that Ziggs this champion is not a hot pick in the current meta is because people are more preferred the carry champions, that some AD champions that can really carry the whole game in the late game. But for today's game, because the opponent's team, they have banned out some AD champions already, and they have picked Aphelios this champions in the first pick. So at that time, we really feel like Ziggs this champion can be a very decent choice in facing Aphelios in the laning phase. So that's a reason for us to just lock down this champion. And definitely your Ziggs played super good and really played a huge role in today's game 1. But also in game 1, we feels like IG were able to get the Dragon Soul. After that, you guys were really kiting a bit around all the team fights, but you were able to just steal the Baron and then steal the Elder Dragons, steal the very important neutral objectives twice in a row. So tell us more about the team's communication around that. 那其实感觉第一局对面是拿到了一个龙魂之后，我感觉你们两个队伍一直在拉扯，但是呢，你们是能够非常漂亮的去直接偷掉了大龙，然后又偷掉了远古龙，所以说能问一下这两波团你们当时是有进行怎么样的一些沟通和处理吗？
因为这个阵容我们选出来就是我们要拉扯，然后慢慢打的阵容，然后再加上就是我们这个阵容就是我们训练赛可能最近用的比较少，所以说就比赛前中期就有点失误吧，然后到后面我们就打出了我们这个阵容该有的特性吧。
So I really feels like with our compositions or with our draft in game 1, we really need to cut a lot in all the team fights, and also we think like in the current scrims and in the practices. To be honest, we didn't practice this draft a lot, so that's the reason for us to just made a lot of mistakes in the early to mid game to put ourselves in a disadvantage. But we're not that worried about that. We try to like make full use of our characteristic of this draft to win game 1. And also, let's move on to game 2, because with this Zaya and Rakan, you and Chelsea really got a lot of kills from the laning phase, and I believe the snowboard just started from that time. So tell us more about your focus in the laning phase together with Chelsea. 那其实说到第二局，感觉你和小 C 拿着这个霞落，确实从对线期开始就建立了非常非常大的优势，也拿下了很多颗人头。所以说，能问一下，可能在对线期你们两个的一些重点会是什么呢？
其实选出这个英雄对线期打法的话，就是看对面怎么样做吧。然后我们前面就感觉有机会，所以说我们就选择去上了。然后就看，因为我们打野前面是往上搬去刷的，所以说我们前面更多的是需要防守吧。然后再加上就是如果对面给机会的话，然后我们就打出我们自己该有的操作就可以了。
So in terms of our play style, we really change it based on the current situations. So because the opponent's team, they may give some opportunities to us, so we just punish their mistakes in the laning phase to get some kills. And also in game 2, because the jungler, he really did the farming from the bot lane towards the top lane. So because of that, we would like to just defend more. But I think the opponent's team, they just give some opportunity to us, so we just made full use of it to get some kills in the laning phase. That's all I would like to share. And my last question is, the Chinese New Year is coming, so do you have any words you want to say to all the audience? 那现在也是春节要到了嘛，所以说我们的2号选手有没有什么新年祝愿想要送给所有的观众朋友们？
就祝大家新年快乐吧，然后新的一年可以心想如意，然后身体健康。
So happy Chinese New Year, and I hope all of you in this new year can be healthy and do everything well. So thank you for the sharing and congratulations. 那再次恭喜你们，也祝你新年快乐。
好，新年快乐，
And back to you guys. Happy Chinese New Year.
拜拜。